Rob, for cold open purposes, can you tell us about like your adventures on Freie Wähler, fucking Facebook?
I don't know why you guys. I already posted about this that we're not making this a thing, but you guys went against my wishes, and I don't appreciate this.
Well, you're making decrees about what is and isn't a thing is exactly what the Freie Wähler are standing against. Okay.
I was Gretchen, whatever the hell her name was, in Mean Girls. Yes.
Yeah.
Let me have my moment.
Are a movement of accountants who want to be sovereign citizens but can't because they're too much of a nerd. So they came up with the idea of Freie Wähler. And they are going to take back Germany, one Bundesland at a time.
They're starting with the tiniest one. Rheinland-Pfalz. Come on, guys.
I knew it. Just
I'm so glad we decided to refer to the German states by their German names, because the amount of times I read the English name for Rhineland-Pfalz, I just keep wanting to say Rhineland-Palestine, and I'm just like, that's not right.
Nope, that's not
free Rhineland-Palestine. That's what they keep going on about.
Yeah. Do you hear any other parties addressing this at the national level? No, but the Freie Wähler are. Especially their fearless leader, Joachim Streit. He will take the Streit all the way to the Bundestag.
Boo.
Just imagine like nonsensical local Freie Wähler TV ads of just like, I'm Herr Streit and I'll strike for you. It's just like, what dude?
He does something in all his photos. There's like 20 photos of this at least, of him posing with a binder, and I don't know what's in the binder. But I assume he's got some plans about how
he
to
has
fix
Mitt
Germany
Romney's binders full of women.
He has one binder. I don't know if it's the same binder in every photo, but he poses with the binder, sometimes in front of dozens of people.
That's where the values, the values are written down in that binder.
Yeah.
Which are also
Goals.
German state secrets because they unfortunately may overlap to some Nazi shit.
Yeah, like you want to see what's in the binder, vote for me. I'll show you then. Any other good finds, Rob?
Yes, but I feel like they're best revealed at a future point in time.
Rob chooses
much like the contents of the binder.
Can we get like a picture, like the first picture of Rob ever posted? It's just him with a binder.
Rob is a child with a binder.
As a child.
With the binder labeled Freie Wähler jokes, future Freie Wähler tweets.
Yeah. They're not in the Bundestag yet, but when they do.
Yeah. It's like when people have tweets drafted for when celebrities die. Rob just has like tweets drafted when various Freie Wähler politicians get elected.
Well, right now is the time to buy, is all I want to say. Get in on the ground floor of this movement. This is like owning McDonald's stock in 1955.
Oh no, Rob has turned all the Freie Wähler, or all the pictures of Joachim Streit into, what are they called?
Non-fungible tokens. Rob sells a picture of Joachim Streit for like 20 million in London. What did everyone do for Paddy's Day? Anyone do anything fun for Paddy's Day?
I was
Talk
on
to
the
you.
stream with you.
Yeah,
We
me too.
streamed, yeah.
You were the highlight of our St. Patrick's Day, Ciaran.
Yeah.
Talking to a real Irish
I
person.
talked to an Irish person, yeah.
Oh,
Me too.
Oh, what?
If
Guy.
I'm
it
like,
changes
you're
your-
like kind of required by law, so don't get too flattered, Ciaran.
Yeah,
if it changed, I do believe that I will have a year of bad luck if I don't talk to an Irish person on St. Patrick's Day. So it wasn't
I think
because
that's
I
a
like you or
fact.
anything.
I'm already pushing it without like my tradition of rubbing Ciaran's belly on Paddy's Day to
Aw.
for good luck.
That's fun.
Well, I knew that was a tradition, and I did it like I motioned towards Ciaran's house, which is our version of Mecca.
Yeah. On Paddy's Day at 5 o'clock, you have to pray towards Ciaran's belly. Yeah, the fun thing that happened in the EU, which is apparently big news, is the European Court of Justice delivered a verdict in Irish on Paddy's Day, which is like not very impressive. It's mostly just like numbers, because he's just like reading case numbers over and over again. But it's about a guy sued the European Court of Justice, or like at a European level, for saying that packaging for dog medicine in Ireland should also be in Irish, like as well as English. And they're like,
That's a really weird.
Very specific. Very specific.
That's also just what like the EU thinks of Ireland. Is that like, oh no, we're just gonna go about just very normal business, not make like any like anything special out of it. Just the first thing that comes over our table is we're just gonna say it in Irish.
yeah, whatever. And there's like, now there's trial about various people who committed war crimes in Northern Ireland in the 90s. No, we're not dealing with that.
Yeah, this is the thing that like Trump was actually really good about, is that whenever there was like a holiday for like a group of, white people who were not from the United States, Trump would always invite on one of their holidays like a member of state from that country that then has those Americans, the heritage, and then would make up a random holiday for them.
Well, Biden is continuing that tradition because he declared it Irish History Month on Frauentag.
Oh, that's good. It's not like that's the Women's Month, but it's fine.
No, it's, I'm sorry, Julia. It's Irish History Month now.
The Irish were the first women,
at some point.
How the Irish became men by Noel. So that's been good. Rob had some fun with Joe Biden's St. Patrick's Day address.
Keeping it going. It's true. He loves Ireland. He loves the Irish. And that's my main issue. That's why I voted for him.
What was that thing he posted about like the Greeks? Yeah, he said about the Greeks.
He said that the Greeks have the best rice pudding. He said his aunt Bertie, or Gertie, I should say, made the best rice pudding in the world. No offense to the Greeks. So it's a layered comment.
Sorry, Nick.
Which implies that the Greeks make very good rice pudding.
I mean, like I've said on the show, I did not vote for Joe Biden, so
there is a reason for that, and I can see it now.
I knew it. Also because Joe Biden somehow also connected to this weird CDU, CSU, getting into Nick's headspace of making these parties anti-Greek with their like with their Azerbaijani and like North Macedonian lobbying that they're getting.
Yeah.
He's just Joe Biden sitting around like at like Nagorno-Karabakh, just being like, no offense to the Armenians, but the Irish make the best rice pudding.
Exactly.
You didn't finish the story with the EU thing. So it was about dog food?
No, it's about dog medication.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's an argument to be there, like that you should put medicine in every language or whatever for like accessibility purposes.
Okay.
The fun thing about that story though is that they did this court, like they ruled in his favor and said it has to be in Irish, and we're going to read the verdict in Irish, and like, oh, it's Paddy's Day. But like the EU observer noted that like, yeah, this is just like a temporary moral victory because there's something in the EU Parliament that will overturn this. So
some anti-Irish discrimination specifically.
There's some anti-Irish sentiment EU Parliament draft bill. Yeah,
I hate.
It'll be illegal to be Irish.
Yeah, they have well-founded fears that you could accidentally cast spells by speaking Irish in Brussels. You don't want that to happen.
That's what happened when the law passed, actually. That's why he said it. So the law would become legal. He said it in Irish because it's magic. Hey, welcome to your weekly free corner Späti. If you want to get the good stuff, you have to pay for it. But this is the free stuff, so we're not going to try. This is going to be me ranting about stuff. You'll see. Anyway, I'm here with the full gang. It feels so good to be back again. I'm here with Julia.
Hello.
Nick.
Hello.
And Rob.
Yeah, that's me.
And we're doing a bit of a grab bag today, as you probably could tell by that cold open. Maybe we'll see what Nick does with it.
Yeah, it's called leverage.
I still don't know. Actually, I'm like anxiety is building.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, okay, you can't see that, but we have the Skype call open, and Nick does look very anxious.
Luckily, I have 2 days to deal with this, and the worst thing is that if I just hate it, I can just delete it.
You look very sad and disappointed in us. Are you disappointed?
No, no.
Good.
I'm good.
All right. at the end of the podcast, everyone, no matter where you are, where you're listening to this, if you're on like a bus, if you're at home, just say out loud, "Sorry, Nick." We will hear you.
Yeah, I'll hear your collective cries.
It's a bit of a grab bag. We're going to be talking about some like Danish bullshit and like COVID and stuff. But first, we're getting into some very, very important stuff. Definitely not just like a weird vendetta I have. The Dutch elections happened, and we will do a full proper episode about the Dutch elections. Some patrons actually messaged me saying they would get me in touch with some people from a communist platform, and I would love to talk to them. So just a shout out, do that. I want to talk to them. Let's have a proper episode about the Netherlands, because it seems fucked, especially in these elections. The right gained, all the left lost. The anti-racist party I like got 1 seat. That's all I was hoping for. That should give you an idea of how bleak this whole thing was.
Important to set proper expectations in life.
I know, right? Still can't pronounce their name, but they seem good. I think it's like BN, something like that. Anyway. But the thing that, like, because I couldn't be happy, another thing happened, which is Dutch Volt of Volt fame. They got 3 seats.
Yeah,
making
like
this-
the Volt, like not like
Yeah.
like the pan-European party that we talked about for an entire episode.
Not the
Um,
Not
that-
the delivery service.
Yeah, not the delivery service. That was founded by McKinsey and seemed to be entirely like, what if we used you? What if youth took over politics?
That would be
Yeah.
so cool.
That would be cool.
It would look a little something like this.
I don't know why, this is just a vendetta to the entire nation that is the Netherlands. Why did you have to give Ciaran this? Why? Why do we have to hear more about this?
Yeah, people were like atting me in Discord and on Twitter when the like first polls came out of just like Volt will now be included in polls in the Netherlands. I'm like, no. Yeah. So I was afraid they were going to get 1 seat, but no, they got 3. So fucking.
Oh, wait.
3
Before
is a
we-
group.
How many seats are there in the Dutch parliament?
150.
Okay, so 3 is actually like...
Yeah. It's like the first thing you need to know about Dutch politics is it's incredibly fractal. I think I have the results. Where is it? I have them here. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 parties in the parliament.
Ciaran had to use his toes for that one.
I did have to use my toes. I was like, yeah, Rob, I have 17 toes. I know what you're saying. But yeah, so 3 seats is actually annoyingly good. It's worth pointing out, though, that like it's harder for Dutch politicians to get elected at the European level because they only got slightly more votes than they did in the European elections. And the European elections, they got 0 MEPs. But yeah.
Well, the other big thing that happened, I mean, like a shift was the D66, which seems to be like just. I saw several people being like Dutch articles being like, how are they different than D66? Because they're already the liberal party that I guess is what Volt stands for. But Volt has the youth skin on top of the policies.
Yeah, I mean that's the story as old as time with like Volt in any European country is that there's probably a party you could have already voted for. Like I think Nick has mentioned before on Twitter that like these are just Julis, like Volt Deutschland is basically just Julis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, probably a bit less scandals about, I don't know, selling children or something like that.
Yeah. We all love to shed the child selling scandal.
The thing, though, that at
Sorry,
least...
Volt is the children the FTP sold entering politics.
Yeah, we are the children you couldn't sell.
The ones that got away.
Yeah.
I-
Go on, Nick, sorry.
I guess that then, like, if I view it that way, though, sometimes I can't be too mad that Volt gets support then. Like, I do want the FDP to fracture. Like, that'd be kind of sick. Just saying. I want the FTP to get less than the 5%. So if
But
this is the way that happens, that's fine.
But the unfortunate thing, if you look at Germany, I don't think that the Volt people are necessarily people that would vote for the FDP. They're more like centrist and very European, like excited centrist. I think consulting is a great idea.
People.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think what's annoying
people
about
that love technocrats.
Well,
yes,
they're people who like go through their life and probably would be otherwise apolitical, and they're like, I've never had a political party directly speak to me and tell me I'm great, and now that's here, so I will vote for you.
Exactly.
But yeah, you're right, Rob. I think the only discernible difference that people could find between them and D66, which for people who don't know who D66 is, it's Volt, but like established and like will actually like if you want Volt things to happen, you can just vote for D66.
Who are the second biggest party in the parliament now, and so
people thought there was a chance they could have like had been the next prime minister. Before the election.
Who is still our old friend Mark Rutte, who resigned, who did the classic. We got to come up with a name for it, like the Euro shuffle. When you resign and then call elections, or the elections were already scheduled. You resign like 5 months before elections, and then gain a bigger majority plurality than before. Classic.
Once Merkel resigns, he will be the longest sitting head of state in Europe. Mark Rutte.
After Orban, weird.
I think. Maybe Orban, yeah. No, I think Orban might be newer. I'll have to look that up. But he's already been in there for 10 years. And unless snap elections are called or whatever, he'll be there for another 5 now. There's a good chance, from rumors I've heard, that he might be pushed out, even though his party will still be in charge. And someone else from his party will take over. But yeah, we'll talk about that later when we cover.
Don't let them get you, King. I think that you can beat Merkel's record. Yeah,
go for it, Rutte. We believe in you. Please don't. You've ruined the Netherlands, from what I can tell. Anyway, they got 3 voters in. Because they weren't expecting that to happen, I couldn't really find anything about the third guy they got in, Ernst Bootkan. Bootkan or something. He has less Twitter followers than me, so
low B solidarity. I'm sure you have funny tweets.
Yeah. I think that will change now that he's elected or whatever. But the other 2 are like your classic Volt people. Lawrence Dassen is a business administrator that worked for like the Netherlands' second largest bank, and then the second seat went to it's a Turkish name, Nilüfer Gundogan. She was a project manager. So again, Volt really leading into their whole PMC thing. She has a great quote, actually. This globalized world is complicated, and instead of reducing politics to simple slogans, something Volt never does, I want to tell the voter the whole story. So that's good, I guess, or whatever. The main reason they got a boost in the polls is that like a week ago or so, a bunch of like journalists and people with public profiles said you should vote for Volt. And I'd like to go through those people with you guys now, if you don't mind.
Yes,
please. Sounds like nothing sketchy here.
The first we have is Geert Mak, who's like he was born in 1946. He did like a book called In Europe, which is just about how like
I'm in Europe. Hey.
Sold 500,000 copies, man.
Wow.
British reviews were generally enthusiastic, but a Guardian reviewer says In Europe hardly breaks new ground historically. So that's the review of that book. Just like positive, like vibes about how Europe is good or something. So he endorsed it. That's not necessarily super surprising. He's like a kind of public intellectual journalist kind of guy. Nothing huge there. The next person to endorse it was a TV presenter called bear with me here. Sander Schimmelpenninck.
What? No.
What?
Yeah. For full name, Xander Cornelius Graf Schimmelpenninck.
Oh, okay. So he's royal.
Yeah,
Oh yes, he's
explains a
royal.
lot.
Schimmelpenninck is a descendant of the noble family Schimmelpenninck, son of the former steward of the Twinkel Castle.
Wait, this is real?
Yes,
you weren't just making this up?
It's true. I just checked it. I'm sorry. I fact checked Ciaran, but it's true.
No, you're lying to me. This isn't real. You're just making up a fucking like fairy tale ass names that are really bad. Trying to make them fake German and try to convince you that this is a real thing. No, I don't believe you.
Twickel is a protected historic country estate with 81 complex parts near Delden in the hamlet of Deldencrest, in the municipality of Hof van Twente, in the province of Overijssel.
You're just making up fake Nazi names. Stop it.
The subtitles read Dutch noises intensify. But yeah, he's God, like a lot of his genealogy reads. There's literally someone in here called Albert Hieronymus Count Schwimmelpenninck.
Oh, that's his father.
That's his father. And his mother's name and radiologist Marie Lisbeth Henrietta Helena Schwefers. He grew up in Diepenheim. God, I love this whole paragraph, man. But yeah. So he also did some Erasmus in Milan.
Of course he did.
So you can tell that from the way he wears shirts open collar now. That's why he loves Italian.
That's why he loves Europe now.
Yeah.
After doing Erasmus, he was like,
"Well, the thing was,
I got a hand job in Milan."
Yeah.
He saw the cover of that. He saw that cover of that conservative magazine of Italian Stalin and his influencer wife on the beach, and was like, "I need that for myself."
We will get to that, Nick. That will weirdly come up when I go through some of these other people.
Hell yeah. Thank you. I love you, Europe. Everything, Europe's just a small place. Everything relates back to Italian Stalin on the beach.
It is true. Europe is it's smaller than you think. We're always coming back to the same people somehow.
Yeah, it's almost as if like there's still weird landed gentry in this country called fucking Schwimmelpenninck. I keep there's too many consonants. I keep losing track of it. So yeah, he's like a TV host for VPRO since and before that he was on WNL. These are relatively big channels, or TV shows. Just doing the news. So it's weird that he made like a public opinion, but I guess that's fine. He's also a columnist for De Volkskrant. He also has a big podcast with his college friend.
Yes.
Bigger than ours?
Bigger than ours?
I mean, they have a Wikipedia page.
Oh, damn.
The podcast is called Self Hyphen. There might be a naming theme there.
Talk about what you know best.
Yeah, the self. What's Yamp? Oh, yeah, his co-host also has he's a singer. His co-host is a singer. He also has like a long ass.
Oh no! Just stop it. I don't care.
Anyway, this guy is saying vote Volt. This weird landed gentry, rich millennial business freak. So he's saying vote Volt as well. The next in our line of beautiful idiots is Rob Weinberg. I don't know how to do IJ in
it's like IJ. Okay. I think it's I.
Weinberg. Okay. Rob Weinberg, who is a journalist and philosopher. I want to.
That's a bad combination.
Yeah. So I want to hit you, Rob, in particular, with some of this philosophy from him.
All right, so, I'll do my best.
I want to
hear. In his book, In Dubio, 2008, Weinberg investigated the nature and limits of freedom of opinion. He argues that freedom of speech is actually an impossible freedom, a freedom that requires boundaries, but at the same time rejects precisely those boundaries. Weinberg defends everyone's right to speak, quote, whether it concerns a call to ban the Quran, a plea for the legalization of pedophilia,
Wait,
or simply calling a civil servant in office, the free word prevails. So yeah, he's like a weird free speech guy.
Obviously. He
Those are all
brought
things
great
he just
examples.
wants to say. Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
Very
why
clear
was he
what he
thinking
wants
about
to-
these? Yeah.
Yeah, because he's just like, I'm not allowed to say these things.
Yeah.
He just, first of all, if Volt is going to let me impersonate German politicians that I would like to on Twitter, including using that emoji that makes it look like I have a blue check, I will vote for them.
Rob has plans. Stay tuned at Leninkraft on Twitter. Strong endorsement. But so here's the thing now, and here's where he became like a media darling. In 2013, he organized crowdfunding for a new journalism platform called Der Correspondent, right? So The Correspondent. It was a success in, the Netherlands. It's like a regular publication. It's kind of like weird. It's like the Jackman business model, but like for weird liberal takes of just like slow journalism. We're going to take it back a step and maybe put in a bit more due diligence, right? And he did this through crowdfunding. But then we get into the fun shit where he's tried to do this for the US. And this is not really talked about all that much because the only way you can find out about this is you have to have access to weird media like analysis websites that say, I don't know, a UX researcher might have access to. Anyway, let's go.
Go on.
So The Correspondent was this like big media campaign. We're going to launch an American publication. It's going to unbreak the news. That's what he was referred to. He did this in, oh my God, when did he run this campaign? I want to say it was 2017. This was definitely like a post-Trump thing where they like had big flashy videos. They had Will.i.am talking on a camera.
This is something that when you have a really vibrant, social democracy, you can believe that you can do things like this because you'll fall on your ass and at least you have health care. There is no way you're going to unbreak the American fucking media landscape. Sorry.
I don't know. When you're a philosopher who publishes a book about freedom of speech when you're 26, there's just other things. This gets into philosophy of knowledge. It's sort of like, I don't know if I know the full story here.
Yeah. I really like, though, that I now have accepted the Netherlands as the country. If I want to follow my really stupid dreams, I can do it there. I'm not going to be successful.
Small
you will
country,
have to make
big
up
opportunities.
A fake name and pretend you're a account from some
you
small
might have to like
Dutch island.
Yeah, you might have to marry a lesser Schwimmelpeck or some Pennick or whatever they're
cool,
called.
Fine, whatever.
That's what I told my wife that you may want to have like a Schwimmelpennick, but you'll do.
I mean, I want to have something that then's like as dumb as a startup idea, like level of stupidity, but just isn't a startup. I feel that the Netherlands is where I can go for that.
I want to continue the story of The Correspondent as opposed to De Correspondent. The Correspondent, which was going to be like, we're going to do what we did in the Netherlands here in the US. And we got like, they also got like these, what do they call them? Like, brand, like basically brand ambassadors. Yeah, prominent ambassadors, what they had. You want me to read you a list of the prominent ambassadors?
Yeah, sure.
That they got. 538's Nate Silver.
Oh, nice.
He knows how to pick them. I mean,
he does. The creator of The Wire, David Simon.
What?
Yeah. He's like a terminally online boomer.
Yeah,
true. He actually is.
Mm-hmm.
This name I'm not super familiar with. Baratunde Rafik Thurston? American writer, comedian, commentator. He wrote How to Be Black in 2012. Okay. They also got like a couple of people in the videos. They had like, if I remember in the original plea to like crowdfund this, they had like Will.i.am. They had like a couple of those people who claim to be the founders of Black Lives Matter, but like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with that right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, in April of 2019, all of those ambassadors published a public letter being like, yeah, we were duped by Rob Weinberg. we were told this would be something that it wasn't. We told us that we were going to let's see, the corresponding US line. I felt like it was a betrayal and we had raised funds on a false pretense.
First of all, welcome to business. Second of all,
the story also raised questions about the correspondent's use of the 1.8 million in runaway funding. So yeah, some journalists kind of spoke up about this. I think Nate sent off a couple of tweets. People who backed it were like, what the fuck's going on? So then some other stuff happened. In the beginning of 2019, they had raised in total 2.6 million in crowdfunding for Unbreaking the News, thecorrespondent.com. And then revealed they were only going to hire one full-time journalist. So yeah, there you go.
Cool.
Yeah. It became clear, like, according to analysis and people who were like keeping up with this, it became very clear over time that this was not going to be its own publication, but largely just reprint what the Dutch day correspondent was printing, but translated into English. So yeah, they only had like one full-time journalist who's probably not seeing the majority of this money. And wouldn't you be surprised to know that The Correspondent, the American website, stopped publishing December 31st of last year.
I mean, you need an exit strategy.
Yeah.
Get in, get your runway money, and get out. They won't know what hit them.
Neilman Labs, who's done like most of the story on this in the English language anyway, could not really reach Rob for comments. Rob Weinberg. He just kind of
for a second I thought you were referring to Rob. Rob, why didn't you why weren't you available for comments?
I pretended I couldn't speak English.
They just got the only thing they had to go off was leaked staff memos of being we're shutting up shop and a large majority of you guys are now fired. Or probably weren't hired to begin with. They were probably all contracted out. So
this was really just one coked up night. We thought of this, and all of a sudden, people gave us money. All I have to say about that is famous journalists posting their financial L's online. Bye.
I still have will.i.am's number. I will.
I mean, if you're getting will.i.am for your launch, that's some Fire Festival shit. It's you're are you actually serious about this?
That's a scam.
Yeah, it was very much a scam. They had these lofty promises that if you became a paying member of the Correspondent, you could talk to the journalist directly and
wow.
you could participate and you could suggest things for them to cover.
will.i.am himself would be like, wait, this isn't a scam. You actually want to do something, but you hired me.
I'm mostly here for scams. Yeah, so Rob Weinberg, who's still running the somewhat successful Day Correspondent, did do an op-ed being here's why you should vote Volt. And it basically came down to, all these other parties that are basically identical to Volt are great, but they're not as explicit about being pro-European as Volt is. So even though he was D66 is the same, or maybe Groen Links is better on green stuff, vote Volt because it's a vibe. And I'm Rob Weinberg. And then we get to the last person, and probably one of the most influential people who endorsed them. His name's Arjen Lubach, who people might be familiar with. For Nick and everyone else, he's basically the Netherlands' Jan Bommerman.
Makes sense.
And Lubach is probably most famous for that viral video of America first, Netherlands second.
That trash!
Oh,
shit. Fucking damn it!
Okay, a man of talent.
Soy boy shit. It is some fucking soy-faced shit, and it is so fucking dumb. But he's the guy responsible for that. But he's your political comedian on TV in the Netherlands kind of thing. Yeah. However, he backed Volt on TV and was they seem great, vote for them. But to Nick's point about the magazine cover.
How does this tie in?
So, like, you know, he's a public figure. He has political beliefs. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. Like, for example, he's personally a vegetarian. That's fine. Some Dutch people seem to have a problem with that. A cool thing about him is he's a very vocal Dutch Republican. He believes the monarchy is stupid. I agree.
Yeah.
The really weird and shitty political position that he has taken, though, since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, is as the cool voice against authority on the TV, telling you what's up with these stupid politicians. He's really, really, really against Eurobonds and thinks the Italians should suffer.
What the fuck? What a nerd thing to be into. Also because the Netherlands doesn't have a fucking economy.
I know. But like, yeah, okay. He's also famous for blaming the citizens of southern European countries, specifically Italy, for electing anti-austerity politicians.
Wow.
So he's like a weird pro-austerity John Oliver. Like,
what the fuck is wrong with the Netherlands? Holy shit, they are the worst Germans. Oh,
like,
God.
I just feel like Jan Bubberman wouldn't bring up this issue.
No, Jan Bubberman would be like, damn, austerity sucks. This guy's all like, all right, you know what's cool, kids? You know, being pro the bizarre fucking anti-buyback program of the European Union.
I just think the fucking writer room at Neo Magazine Royale is just like, you want to talk about Eurobonds? No, there are no jokes here. There are zero jokes here.
You know, like, I joke around a lot on this program, but it's time to get serious. hit the music.
Yeah. But then Zondag met Lubach was just like, yeah, fuck it, let's talk about Corona bonds. It's been a slow week, I guess.
That was something that the Netherlands was like way too passionate about, like in utter stupidity.
Oh yeah, they're really taking their like, what is it, frugal four role very seriously. Anyway, he's probably the most honest one of them all, who's just like, yeah, I'm like cool, I wear suits, I'm a vegetarian, I'm against the monarchy, but you know, fuck those swarthy Italians. Austerity is good, vote Volt. So he's probably the most honest of all these people. The only journalist I saw being particularly critical was a investigative journalist called Oke Ornstein, who got arrested in Panama a couple of years ago. He's pretty cool.
For
but
something
he was
good or something bad?
Something good. Like he's like, I think he was investigating Panama Papers stuff before that
I was
even
about
came
to say
out.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to give him a pass either way.
But he did like a tweet thread being like, why are people backing this party? This makes no fucking sense. They have like, why are journalists backing this party? They have like nothing on journalism. For like a weird pro-European, supposedly liberal party, could you comment on Orban like at least once?
Yeah, seriously.
So like there's things like that. He also had a very good quote that I think was good. He talked about like, oh, they make all these things talking about, oh, migration's good, blah, blah, blah. But they also want to like expand Frontex and give it more power.
Of course.
So he has a good quote of cosmopolitanism for us, Frontex for them, as like the politics of Volt.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, yeah.
I mean, we talked... Wait, didn't we get into a Twitter fight because of that?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you did, because that's when you started posting in German. I was like, Yulia's got this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's exactly what you said. Like, they are...
Yeah.
Didn't they suggest like a Corona Cruiseliner or something?
They wanted a refugee cruise liner.
That's the most perverted fucking shit.
Yeah.
What if you have a refugee camp but it floats?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, well, not that different than some suggestions we're going to get to in a moment.
Oh yeah.
When we get to Denmark.
Yeah. But like the last little thing I'll say that I always love so this is the first time Volt has entered like a national parliament. Before we were talking on mic, I was like, they're actually quite involved in a lot of local parliaments and like governments in Germany. They got like 1% of the vote in Baden-Württemberg, which doesn't get them any seats, but entitles them to funding now. So stay tuned for that. They might also get into the Bulgarian parliament this year as well, because they're attached to like an anti-corruption voting list. So
that's not like you can't be a thing founded by a consulting firm and be against corruption. Stop it! It's not even funny. You're just digging your own grave.
Well, but
Bulgaria.
Yeah, that is a strategy for everything Western going to the East. Is an anti-corruption thing.
Yeah.
Or South. I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, East or South, as long as
it's two different types of corruption.
Yeah, exactly. There's the bad one. That's what the others do, and there's the one that you do, the business one.
Yeah, business one. Yeah, so you don't have to like pay the person at your DMV anymore to get preferential treatment. What we'll have is a series of lobbying groups to pay the person at the DMV to get preferential treatment. So the fun thing, though, I like when Volt runs at anything other than a European level, because we did this in the last episode, is the big criticisms of Volt is they have like nothing to say about national and local level shit. But when they do run at national and local levels, they're forced to make positions. And oh boy, do they make positions. Yeah, let's go. So first is for all their talk about like we need to fight climate change, which is incredibly present in like the Netherlands because it's going to be underwater in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They have the second worst at like environmental position out of all the like 37 parties running in the Netherlands. So there's a lot of joint last place of just like, we're not going to do anything, fossil fuels rule.
They're just going to wave a stick at the environment.
The only thing they want to ban is state subsidies for fossil fuel companies.
What?
That's it. Yeah,
that's enough.
No like transitioning away from fossil fuels, no exporting or working for fossil fuel companies indirectly. Like, you know, you can still make equipment for Royal Shell Company as long as you don't publicly fund Royal Shell Company.
That's not how you save the Netherlands.
No, it is not. They also want to raise 2% GDP for defense. So they're like now a weird NATO party.
For why? Like in the Netherlands, though, like why?
They apparently said innovation.
Yeah, the military is so good at innovating. All those new types of, military hardware.
Yeah, Volt's just gonna put a bid in for like 8 F-35s for the Netherlands for no reason.
But I mean, military. I mean, it's just one aspect of it, but. It is so funny how so many of these parties show their ass when it comes to like anything NATO or military related. Like we really just want you to hire us. I don't care what the job description is. Just hire me. Like I don't sure, fuck it. I'll do that stuff. Like stop asking me this question.
Yeah, I mean maybe they're interested in the military because of like consulting firms being very because they started from McKinsey.
No, I bet the head of the
they're like, oh damn, like Ursula did that. So I mean, that's for us. No. Military is for us.
I bet the guy who's the head of the party or who's like the head policymaker is just a weirdo who's like really into like jets or something like that.
Or tanks. Word of tanks.
Yeah. No. Tanks aren't like cool and like techie enough. They're kind of old fashioned. Jets go fast though.
Vroom. Other fun things is they oppose national health care in the Netherlands.
What?
They think
what the fuck is this party?
They have horrible takes.
Yeah. They're like the purest distillation of neoliberalism. It's just not even fun anymore. It's stupid. It's a fucking grift.
It's no surprise though.
They oppose primary school teachers being paid as much as secondary school teachers.
Finally, someone says it.
It's basically just playing with kids.
I want the market to decide teachers' wages. Yeah.
Kindergarten teachers are getting paid while all these kids are just crying and peeing their pants, and they're all running around the classroom. They have it too easy.
I gotta say it's way harder to teach primary school kids than older kids.
Yeah, they have phones at that point. They're just going to be on their phone.
Exactly.
It's
not They make the argument that like secondary school teachers have to know more.
Oh my god. But that won't go anywhere if you don't have a good foundation of people like of the kids already knowing stuff, and that is what primary.
It's a very self-defeating bullshit.
Yeah.
But again, weird neoliberal PMC shit of just like your wage should be determined by your level of education. Not
that's
by,
something,
like,
very specific, I think, from the Volt people too, because it's like heavily college educated and like the kind of people who are like, that is what they think makes them special. Like they did well in school and they're like, yes, and all those people who didn't do well should be punished.
Yeah, pretty much. For bullying me. So one of the big issues of this election was housing. Housing in the Netherlands has gotten like fucking insane. There's like
they're a landlord party, aren't they?
Oh, I'll get to that. So there's a huge shortage of housing. There's like high-rise apartments are like being built in like a lot of the cities to like compensate, but like even those apartments are going for like anywhere to 20 to 50,000 over the asking price. So like it's getting pretty bad. And that was like to be on a 2-year waiting list as well, because the apartments weren't done being built yet. Wow. So like it's a pretty fucked situation. So every party in the Netherlands was like, we need to build more houses, but then the details. So very specifically, Volt is we need to build more houses. This is a policy in the Netherlands. More housing, more housing, more housing. When asked about social housing, they were like, no. So
wrong kind of housing.
Wrong kind of housing. We need to extract as much profit from this as we possibly can.
Yeah, do we make money with that? No, then it's not a thing.
No. And I think the ultimate weird little thing that I found that I think perfectly emphasizes like Volt versus like decent left-wing parties in this country, which there are only a few, mind you, but still, is there's a weird setup in the Netherlands where if you're in a relationship and you both work, you get more tax benefits, which is like the opposite of what happens in Germany. Mm-hmm. In Germany, if your like partner is dependent on you, you get tax benefits if you're like a single income household, which I think makes sense because you have one income split across two people. In the Netherlands, it's the opposite, which is hilarious and weird. And I don't understand. Anyway, big topic of this election is changing that to be the opposite, because why wouldn't it be? And Volt is like, no, we believe that if people became, were in one income households and got tax benefits, then less women would work. So we want to like make sure that only double income households get tax benefits and single income households do not. So that's fun. That's really fun. All the good parties kind of pointed out that when a partner doesn't work in a family, like at a job, they're probably doing work at home, like keeping the house, raising kids, that kind of stuff.
The good work.
Yeah, social reproduction costs, as you might call it. So they were like, yeah, there should probably be tax relief for them. But no, Volt was like, no, everyone's got to work. Girl boss. Weird shit. Wow. Yeah. So that's
equality is if female work is also commodified. That is women's work. I mean,
yeah, you have to suffer with us. So yeah, that's Volt in the Netherlands. That's everything I have to say about them. Sorry it took so long.
I should have expected that. This was not in the notes, but I once like at about 10 minutes in, I thought like, oh, Ciaran is a lot on Volt.
Always do. I think it's good to talk about them. They're a small party, but like most press, like a lot of it was like TV interviews, radio interviews. Most of it was just like, so you're young. Like there was like nothing of substance. No critique was ever being leveled against them except by like one journalist's tweet thread was the only thing that criticized Volt that I could find.
And I have to say, I mean, not knowing much about the Dutch culture, like who's hip and who's not, the four people you read off sound like there is a certain kind of person they're going for who are like all of the coolest, smartest people I like. It's like this party. So I'm going to vote for them.
Yeah, the guy who dresses like Jan Bummerman but is Dutch, or the fucking the I don't know, Gaston from fucking Beauty and the Beast is also voting for them apparently, who has a podcast now. Yeah, it's weird, but it's Volt. I don't know what I was expecting. I just have to update 2 years later. They're still weird and shit. Rich millennial party.
Anyway, Corner Späti, your number one Volt source.
Yeah, right.
I think we can corner that market.
I think we can corner that market. I'm here for that.
You guys are more than welcome to do that. I will sit out.
Should we talk about Denmark?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what's the new law? Ciaran, you introduced that.
So this is a 2019 law that was brought in. So yeah, this new bill, a review of existing legislation on combining parallel societies, the totally normal term that totally normal people say.
Mm-hmm. Popular in Germany too.
Yes, indeed. Denmark, so like us. The Interior Ministry proposed that a share of residents of non-Western, quote-unquote, origin in each neighborhood be limited to a maximum of 30% within 10 years. It's a lot of like hand-wringing about like, please don't say the word ghetto. We are reluctant to say the word ghetto.
Yeah, I mean, so you said that it's an update to this 2019 law. The new line that people seem to be commenting on is, yes, that these, I guess no more, they're not called anymore, quote unquote, ghetto neighborhoods, although that's what they called them initially. I think there's something like 15 or 25. And basically the government has, seems like even more with this update, like incredible powers to do what they want to change these neighborhoods. They can say all they want of like, I mean, I think clearly we can agree racist intentions, but like even beyond that, like they just reserve the power to just kick people out of their homes. Like that's like in what way? There's a good article in Jacobin about this, where of course Denmark, as you learn from any interview with Bernie Sanders, is the land of social democratic peace and happiness, and there are a high number of publicly owned houses. And one part of this quote unquote ghetto bill, again, you can't call it that anymore, so dusting off hands theatrically, problem solved, is that no more than 40%. So if a neighborhood is labeled a ghetto, no more than 40% of the houses there can be publicly owned. What if the number is higher than that? You can sell them all off. So it becomes like under the guise of like, fighting parallel societies. Suddenly there's this ability to like, prime real estate, because I mean, they're out of the market, and you could suddenly like, what an influx, you know what I mean? Of new houses. I don't know the specifics, but I could imagine this 30%. So I think you said that, Ciaran, that they're saying to prevent quote unquote parallel societies in these neighborhoods, no more than 30% can be of quote non-Western origin. I have to use a lot of quotes when talking about this. But I could imagine that they have the same tactic. Like, how are you going to make a neighborhood change its demographics where you just kick people out of their house?
So there's a lot of other like weird shit with this as well. So the 30% non-Western is one of 4 criterias. The other criterias is to be considered an at-risk neighborhood is 40% of residents are unemployed, 40% or more. More than 60% of the neighborhood is, so this is not and, this is or more than 60% of the neighborhood are 39 to 50-year-olds with no secondary school education. Crime rates 3 times higher than the national average is another one. Or residents having a gross income 55% lower than the national average. So, yeah, it's also just like attacking the poor as well.
Yeah.
The other weird effects of this, and this is probably one of the most horrific stuff I've seen, is that if you conduct a misdemeanor and if you're from this neighborhood, it carries double the legal penalty.
Yeah, that one is just, what is the rationale for that? You just get more. Is it twice as bad if they do it? No, it's just giving them like, I don't know. It's like, oh, you didn't know you were in the bonus zone.
Yeah, this is the danger, the danger valley that you've entered. This is the hard level. Yeah. So like, other thing is like daycare is mandatory for all children over the age of 1. If you don't get daycare for your like 1-year-old or over, your family allowance, your like stipend from the government will be withdrawn. So there's also schemes in place to withdraw benefits.
Well, that's a great compliment. I mean, this. So maybe we should back up and say a little bit of the political. Our listeners probably know because we talked about it before. In 2019, there were elections in Denmark, and the Social Democratic Party, with some parties, on the left, quote unquote, supporting them, like in the coalition. And they basically, but this ghetto law was being formulated before they took power, and is basically only gotten more stringent, I could say.
Yeah.
In the years since. And so, I don't know, a lot of talk was like, yeah, they're being kind of populist, or, they're co-opting the language of the right in order to talk about economics more. But it really puts a lie to that, trade-off that supposedly, you have to make this devil's bargain or something to reanimate social democratic politics in Europe, when you consider the fact that, this is we already talked about the fact that this is an opportunity for private developers to just, seize, to develop assets. And B, things like, how is this measured? Like how integrated you are into, again, quote unquote, in Danish society. It's like testing. Are you in daycare? Are you in your Danish values class? Like, it's all funding and means testing, tests that, like, kids take to see, like, how Danish are you? Like, it's a system of, like, this, like, classic means testing that, many who live under social democratic governments in Europe or maybe the United States have come to know and love. That, like, I don't know. It's like the fact that the way to enforce this is all of this points towards a increase in, I'm trying to find the right words, because all it is just like more ways basically to fuck you over, to fine you, to get police to kick you out of your house, to take you off some benefits. We just talked about the Netherlands before this. The governments are just inventing any way to quite literally nickel and dime, although the values are a lot higher than that. People out of, like, anything just for doing something wrong.
Yeah. There's a similar related thing related to, like, this. I think the overall plan is called, like, a Danish integration plan or whatever. But one of the things they're doing as well is they're offering, like, cash payouts to people who to asylum seekers or non-nationals in total who are not to go home, to go to their country of origin.
This is the thing the German government was doing for a minute. They still do, actually.
Yeah. There's a lot of similarities here with other policies.
But I don't think if you remember the posters that were around in, like, 2017 or so, that was like, trying to, like, go home. And
a list of, like, suspiciously non-white flags.
Yeah, very much so. And it was like that the I forget which ministry it was, would just give you money to, like, help you
Germany?
get back. Yeah.
Heimat Ministerium.
Heimat Ministerium.
Well, that's what they call it. It's in Ministerium, but it's like the specific Seehofer Heimat Ministerium thing.
That you would get, you'd get money from them to get your ass back home.
To go back.
Yeah, literally the Trailer Park Boys meme of "I will give you $20 to fuck off."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The interesting side effect of this is the racist far-right party is now opposing these legislations for a very particular reason, and a very funny reason, to give some levity to this topic. The Danish Volkspartei, Danish People's Party, is championing the rights of a bunch of old Danish men who, let's say, under particular circumstances, have a bunch of Thai wives who are taking the cash handouts and leaving. So that's if you don't think there's anyone backing your issues in the Danish parliament, there you go.
Again, the the Danish People's Party, they're flexible. They're here to support. They're there to listen to their constituents. If their constituents are mad that their wives are leaving, are taking money and leaving, they're there for you. they're a great example of like, that the military puts a lie to any kind of like populism talk, because one of their first, obviously they got much bigger in 2015, but they were kind of around before, and they were, I think their votes were the deciding votes in 2003 for Denmark to join the coalition in invading Iraq. So, really being, a people's party there for Denmark.
Yeah, so that's a bit of an upsetting Denmark update.
Well, I wanted to add a bit more. I'm sorry it gets more upsetting on immigration specifically, because we talked a lot about housing and just like a constant control and surveillance and inside the country. But Denmark is making, again, since 2019 under the Social Democratic government, they've been pushing even further to the right on immigration. So, and this has an interesting tie to the past Minister of Integration. Her name is, I have to pull it up, Inger Støjberg. I don't know if you've heard about this, but she just got impeached. This is the, so I don't know, I think it's similar to in the U.S., like she's impeached, and so now they're going to hear the case. She was the Minister for Integration under the previous government, and she's being impeached for her people applying for asylum separation policy. Does this remind anyone of other countries perhaps separating people at the border? So her policy was, they called it the child bride, quote unquote, policy, because it was something like if there was a couple and one was over 18 and one was under 18, they would separate them. I don't have all of the details, but this is basically illegal in Denmark. And I think it had the consequences you can expect. Families were separated, and is chaos. Children were separated from parents, everything. So she's being impeached. And it seems like for all the new news that comes out, especially from the Social Democrats' point of view, they just her trial is like ongoing, or like it's in between the impeachment and the actual trial. The Social Democrats can just point to her and be like, we're taking care of business here. So honestly, not unlike the Democrats in the U.S., like we solved the problem that the bad people were doing. Meanwhile, the current Minister for Integration, one Mathias Tesfaye, he said in an interview that Denmark is aiming to be a zero-asylum country, and that they are taking steps to reach that goal. And it's funny, there's an interview, there was like a debate between the leader of the Social Democrats, or the current prime minister, and I think the former leader of the Danish People's Party. And the Danish People's Party gets up and does their like anti-immigrant, screed. And the prime minister gets up and says, we really thank the Danish People's Party for bringing this, important issue to everyone's attention that we are now dealing with. And so then they can be like, we solved the problem. Don't you like that, voters?
Oh, no. Yeah, that has some parallels, all right.
Not much to laugh in there. What I referenced before is that another plan is to externalize, quote their words, all asylum applications. So they're not done in Denmark or the EU, which means where would they be done? Oh, no. I mean, Denmark already has basically refugee camps where people, are just stay in limbo for years. So they clearly don't want people to get into the country. And so no, we'll still do your application. You'll just be on another continent. Don't worry.
Or on the Volt cruise ship.
That's what I'm saying. There could be some opportunities for some synergy here. A little collab.
Was it Orban who had that stupid plan of just we should make a city for this in Libya?
Great plan.
Great plan. Just like an asylum processing city in Libya. Yeah. I just want to say that the only good thing I've seen from Denmark recently is that the left party, like the actually left party that's supporting this Social Democrat Party, managed to push for a committee to investigate the viability of making all companies in Denmark worker-owned. So we've got a committee. That's cool.
We got a committee, everyone. Yeah. I also felt this was necessary after doing the movie about Denmark and how great, you can just get drunk in Denmark. So I have to pierce the bubble there a little bit.
I appreciate that.
You know what?
Like
I'm all about holding myself accountable.
I feel like the Danish People's Party position are just like these people who are coming in, they're not Western, they don't get drunk. Therefore, we need to do horrifying cruise ships.
It would have been
the Aegean Sea.
It would have been funnier if like in the movie they're like the music teacher, the gym teacher, history teacher. It would be funny if they were all Danish values teachers, just like hammered at school, teaching babies again, because you have to start taking it from when you're 1 year old about Danish values.
I've seen like the Norwegian values classes. They're so fucked. It's just like showing like Afghani men, just like pictures of Danish women and just yelling respect her at it. And it's all very gross. Yeah, it's weird. They're not good. The Nordic countries, they have their problems. So that was an episode about Europe's two liberal darlings, the Netherlands and Denmark, and how they're perfect countries and it's all fine. We are doing more stuff on twitch.tv/corner Späti, and we're going to try keep that up in the future of Euro vibes. If you have any Euro vibes, send them to me on Twitter or Rob. Rob also has control of the playlist. If you want to get on Rob's good side, send Rob a Harlem Shake video. He really likes them.
We can bond over it.
The less views the Harlem Shake video has, the better Rob will probably like it.
I will say we talk a lot of like politics, nerd stuff on the podcast. But in the same way, there's like visual and audio listeners. Like maybe you don't get the vibes we're talking about with all this like nerd stuff. So just like sit back, watch the stream, and you'll be like, oh, this is what they mean with videos of French commercials from the 80s.
And sexy chips.
I love how many like Peugeots have been running from danger all the time.
I found a personalized train transport that exists on a Swedish island. I put that into the vibes playlist.
Ooh.
It's cool. Very funny to look at.
I just really want to listen to the thing about the public transport system.
Oh, in Novosibirsk? That was so nice.
And I want to do it as ASMR before I go to bed.
Yeah, so if you have any Euro vibes, send them to me. If you don't know what a Euro vibe is, you can still watch the last two Euro vibe stream on twitch.tv/corner Späti. And you can start following the Twitch channel to get notifications of when we go live. We haven't got a set date yet or like a regular schedule, but we'll hopefully figure that out soon enough. And beyond that, subscribe to Patreon to get an extra bonus episode every week, patreon.com/corner Späti. And I'll do an ad for that again soon where I put on another Sonic the Hedgehog impression. And yeah, New Dawn by Melty Brains. That's the theme song. We'll see you, I don't know, Friday? Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Friday. That day.
Sure. Yeah.
See you next Friday. Conf.